What's up you guys, welcome back to another Commander deck tech video. This time I want to go over another competitive EDH deck, but this time it's going to be from Tatak77. This is on moxfield.com, so if you want to go check it out, I will have it linked below. And also, you can go over here and follow me too. I have a profile over here that's also going to be in the description. So Sythis, I think, is a very competitive commander option because she is just so cheap and you're able to get a ton of card draw off of her. There are also a lot of good enchantments that make it difficult for your opponents to interact with your board, so you also have stacks there as an option. Now, looking at our creatures, I will also go over the primer here too after I'm done going over every single card. Walking Ballista, which is part of a combo we'll talk about later on, but this is how we're going to win here, just infinite damage, Arbor Elf, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Birds of Paradise, Finhorn Elves for even more mana. There's also Esper Sentinel. This is another big competitive EDH card I was talking about in my video. Going to see a lot of play in decks, especially ones that aren't playing blue and competitive. It's just such a huge advantage to have this out there, because your opponents are going to do nothing but cast cantrips, counter spells, and they're going to have to pay an extra or else you get to draw a card. We have Argothian Enchantress to let you draw even more cards, and she has Shroud herself, so very beneficial. We have Destiny Spinner. Creatures and enchantment spells you control can't be countered. So since that's our commander can't be countered as long as we have Destiny Spinner out there. We have Drannith Magistrate, also part of a lockdown combo in this deck. If we get to that, we can pretty much just stall until we hit our win con. We have Aethersworn Canonist, just to again slow down the game. We're not going to be the quickest deck at the table, even if we do have a 2-mana commander that lets us draw cards. We have Grand Abolisher here. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Another card you probably won't see outside of decks that don't play blue, but I think for what we're doing right now, this is absolutely necessary. And then we have Hushbringer. Creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause abilities to trigger, so another great stacks creature. We have Sanctum Weaver, great mana dork that can tap for mana equal to the number of enchantments we control. Then we have Spirit of the Labyrinth to again slow down the game. Each player can't draw more than one card each turn. Kinda hurts our strategy a little bit here, but it's going to hurt everybody in competitive EDH. And then we have Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Whitemane Lion. Again, we're probably going to find out the reason why we have some of these cards in here, but just expect quite a few combos and a lot of stacks control. We have Aven Mind Sensor. Flash and Flying. If an opponent would search their library, that player instead only searches the top 4 cards instead. We have Dryad of the Elysian Grove, another great enchantment creature that helps us get more lands. We have Eidolon of Rhetoric. Each player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. And we have Heliod's Sun Crown. Now this is the other half of that Walking Ballista combo. And going over the primer, we'll see what else we can do here. We have Recruiter of the Guard, great creature tutor just to get other smaller creatures. We have Sanctum Prelate, another great way to slow down our opponents. Choose a number and then non-creature spells of that mana cost cannot be cast. We have Village Bellringer. When it enters, we untap all creatures we control. And then we have Yasharn, Implacable Earth. When it enters, we get 2 lands there. But why it's really in here, players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. And then we have Triskelion to again combo with our Heliod's Sun Crown. It's all about getting those counters, all about dealing infinite damage. And then Elesh Norn to deal with smaller creatures our opponents have, keeping them off the board, making it harder for our opponents to combo. And then we have our sorceries here. We have Sylvan Tutor to get a creature. We have Altar of Bone. We sack a creature to do pretty much the same thing, but we put it straight to our hand. And then we have Finale of Devastation to get a creature out there. If it's in our graveyard, we can also do that. Very sweet card. We have our instants, Angel's Grace. Cast this, and it makes it difficult for our opponents to stop us. Makes it difficult for them to win too. And then we have Enlightened Tutor because we are playing an enchantment deck. We have Noxious Revival, get a card back from our graveyard to the top of our library. We have Silence to stop our opponents from stopping us or to stop them from going off in their turn. We have Swords to Plowshares. We have Worldly Tutor to get another creature. Eladamri's Call to get a creature. Beast Within for removal. Force of Vigor for even more removal for artifacts and enchantments. And then our artifacts, we have Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Mox Diamond, Soul Ring. Got ourselves a Scroll Rack and a Cloudstone Curio, which is another great combo piece. We have Oketra's Monument. Whenever we cast a creature spell, we get a 1/1 white warrior creature token with Vigilance. That right there in Cloudstone Curio tells me that there's going to be some type of infinite creature combo and some way to swing with them immediately. And here we have Helm of Obedience and Uba Mask. Now, Helm of Obedience, we're going to see the other half of that combo here in a second, but this is all about milling our opponents. And Uba Mask, in combination with Drannith Magistrate, it's going to make it impossible for our opponents to play any of their spells. Whenever a player would draw a card, that player removes that card from the game face up instead, and each player may play cards they've exiled from the game. So, Drannith Magistrate pretty much says, no, you can't do that. And we have our enchantments. We have Abundant Growth. Enters, we draw a card. Great mana fixing. Burgeoning gets us more lands out there. We have Concordant Crossroads, and that's a haste enabler right there. So, as we've seen, we can make infinite creatures pretty easily, and then Concordant Crossroads will help us win the game. Deafening Silence, each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. We have Keen Sense, whenever enchanted creature deals combat damage to an opponent, we draw a card. And then we have Miri's Guile. During our upkeep, we may look at the top 3 cards of our library and put them back in any order. We have Wild Growth, just to give us an additional green mana for our land. And then we have our Blind Obedience, slowing down our opponents even more so, making their artifacts and creatures enter tapped. We have Earthcraft, another way to really help us get more mana, help us go off with our combo. We have Kenrith's Transformation, get some card draw, and we're able to pretty much make a creature useless. We have Rest in Peace, which is the other half of the Helm of Obedience combo. If a card or token would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, you exile it instead. Since you'll never have the number of cards required for Helm of Obedience in the graveyard, because they'll all be exiled, you can just do this until you infinitely mill out your opponents. We have Season of Growth. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get to scry 1. And whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, you also draw a card. And we have Sterling Grove, just got reprinted. Other enchantments we control have Shroud, and it's another enchantment tutor. And then we have Stony Silence. Activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. We have Survival of the Fittest, another creature tutor. We have Sylvan Library. We have Aura Shards. Great removal. Whenever a creature comes into play under our control, we may destroy target artifact or enchantment. And then we have Aura of Silence. Making their artifacts and enchantments more expensive, we can also sacrifice this to destroy one. We have Enchantress's Presence, so we can draw a card whenever we cast an enchantment. And then we have Fey Offering at the beginning of each end step. If we've cast both a creature spell and a non-creature spell this turn, we create a clue token, a food token, and a treasure token. We have Monologue Tax. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you create a treasure. And we have Song of the Dryads. To make any permanent useless, we turn it into a forest land. And then we have Owlerin. Any player may play a creature card with total casting cost 3 or less whenever he or she would play an instant, and without paying its casting cost, so this is also part of a combo. We have something like White Mane Lion, making it easy to just get infinite ETBs, and we've already seen a ton of ways that we can interact with that. And our lands here, 28. So you got Ancient Tomb, Arid Mesa, Bountiful Promenade, Branchloft Pathway, Brushland, City of Brass, Command Tower, Forest, Gaia's Cradle, Hall of Heliod's Generosity to get back an enchantment, Horizon Canopy, Crocent Verge, Mana Confluence, Marsh Flats, Mikokoro, Misty Rainforest, Plains, Prismatic Vista, Savannah, Sarah Sanctum, Sunpetal Grove, Temple Garden, Urza Saga, that's another newer one, Windswept Heath, Wooden Bastion, and Wooded Foothills. And the sideboard here, Carpet of Flowers, Veil of Summer, Idyllic Tutor, Vidalcan Shackles, Lindvala, and Vidalcan Orrery. I personally would have left in Carpet and Veil of Summer. I think those two are just fantastic. Now the primer. This is this person's first CEDH deck. The deck focuses on getting Sythis out there as fast as possible and then pumping out stacks, pieces, and enchantments to bog down your opponents. With a ton of enchantment and creature tutors, Eladamri's Call, Enlightened Tutor, Altar of Bone, Finale of Devastation, Idyllic Tutor, Sterling Grove, it's easy to tutor up your combo pieces and win the game outright. Due to Sythis' Enchantress effect, every enchantment you play turns into a cantrip, and many of your stacks, pieces, creatures are enchantments. Stacking these effects with Argothian Enchantress and Enchantress's Presence can lead to some serious card draw. Combo pieces. Your combos to search for are Heliod's Sun-Crowned and Walking Ballista or Triskelion, creating an infinite damage loop to ping down the table. Or you can lock down the table with Drannith Magistrate and Uba Mask. Or infinitely mill out each opponent, one by one with Rest in Peace and Helm of Obedience. White Mane Lion plus Alurin plus Earthcraft allows you to make infinite mana for tutors, combos, or a massive Finale of Devastation. The same thing with Village Bellringer, Cloudstone Curio, plus Alurin, plus Concordant Crossroads, and any mana dork. Or any 2 mana dorks, Cloudstone Curio and Alurin. White Mane Lion plus Earthcraft plus Oketra's Monument equals Infinite Storm, mana, and creatures. Some few cards like Yasharn Implacable Earth can seriously hamper opponents by turning off fetch lands and force spells, and Mikokoro Center of the Sea by forcing draws before Thassa's Oracle resolves. Can really mess up someone's game plans. And if all else fails, slam down an Elesh Norn, and all of your mana dorks and stacks creatures become big enough to threaten some life totals. The low mana cost high card draw and stacks pieces of the stack allows it to be quick, interactive, and competitive. Many cards can be sideboarded in or out depending on your pod, so I think that was a very good primer there. Thank you so much, Tytac77. It was very thorough there. We knew exactly what each piece was here for. So let me know what you think about this person's deck here. Let me know what you think about Sythis Harvest's Hand in competitive EDH. Seems to be a pretty popular one now. But as always, you have a wonderful day. Void here signing off. See you all next time.